F. Scott Fitzgerald's Great Gatsby turns 100 this year. Let's head to Long Island to visit some of the places that inspired the book. Welcome to Pop Culture Passport, your ultimate guide to quirky and cool destinations across the US. I'm your host, Beth Scalacci, aka the Roman Yeti, here to help you dive into the world of theme parks, uncover film and TV locations, and explore quirky museums, roadside attractions, and legendary venues that capture the heart and soul of this unique country. So grab your pop culture passport and let's discover destinations that resonate with your interest, not just with what's trending on social media. Are you ready? Let's roam! Welcome back. Today we're diving into the glamorous and iconic world of the Great Gatsby, right here on Long Island. Long Island was the real-life inspiration for F. Scott Fitzgerald's East Egg and West Egg, and it still carries the echo of the Roaring Twenties with its grand mansions, coastal beauty, and timeless charm. Whether you're a fan of the novel, the movies, or just love a touch of luxury, today's destination will help you step into Gatsby's world. And I'm not doing this one alone. Joining me is Vanessa Gordon to provide some insider tips to make your trip even better. As the CEO and publisher of East End Taste, Vanessa curates a digital publication that dives deep into sustainable and international culinary travel. Her passion for food and travel makes her the go-to expert for anyone looking to elevate their experiences. Now, before I introduce you fully to Vanessa, let's start with a quick refresher on The Great Gatsby. So, F. Scott Fitzgerald's iconic 1925 novel is set during the Roaring Twenties, a time of prosperity, jazz, and opulence. The story follows Jay Gatsby, a mysterious millionaire, as he tries to win back his love, Daisy Buchanan, through lavish parties and extravagant living. The novel's fictional East Egg and West Egg represent the divide between old money families like Daisy and Tom Buchanan and the nouveau riche, like Gatsby himself. Fitzgerald drew inspiration for these settings from Long Island's Gold Coast, where sprawling estates and a glittering social scene captured the essence of the era. You ready? Let's go to Long Island. And today I am really excited to introduce you to Vanessa Gordon. I'm going to call her my Long Island expert. I don't know what she'll call herself, but I'm really excited to dig into Long Island and Great Gatsby. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Beth, so much for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
I mean, is that fair to just call you expert, or is there a specialty within expert that we should recognize?
It's so fascinating because I've been interviewed for a plethora of outlets about Long Island, particularly the Hamptons region, as well as the North Fork. And it's always fascinating the perhaps pathways that we go to. Perhaps my expertise is in family travel, culinary travel out here, and the trends of the seasons. But I guess perhaps living out here for over 35 plus years, you get to know a lot. You see and do a lot. And I'm so blessed to call this region my home.
Yeah, it really is an interesting. It's sort of you know so much about people know so much about New York City, and we hear about the Hamptons and hear about Long Island, but I feel like it's this almost mythical place
Yeah.
that we're not as familiar with. So I'm really excited to talk about this and then to bring in the pop culture side of the 100th anniversary of The Great Gatsby
Hmm.
and what really it means to Long Island. It again, it was one of those things that you sort of know it's there, but it doesn't really hit home. And I'm really excited to sort of dive into some of these places with you.
Absolutely. And what's so cool is even living on Long Island, there is still so much to discover out here. So I get a lot of questions. Is it worth it to visit Long Island in general? And I feel like I'm always stopped in my tracks because not only yes, but there's still so much that I'm learning and experiencing that I didn't even know existed. For instance, I didn't even know that we had an adventure park or a science center. And I knew about the science center in Riverhead, but anyway, they didn't know there was an arcade near there. Just little random tidbits and fun things they never knew existed.
Yeah, and so I think I I have it listed as my first thing on the sheet, but I don't have the geography of the island. So but the first stop I had here was Sandy Point Preserve. And
Yeah.
it's actually home to, as I have it, three spectacular mansions.
Hmm.
And it's the Sands Point Peninsula is considered the East Egg, I believe, from Fitzgerald's Gatsby. Um, but I do know, and I have to add my extra little filming locations. So Dickinson was there, Boardwalk Empire, Law and Order, and many more. But those were the three that really sort of captured my eye. Um, so can you sort of tell me a little bit more about Sandy Point?
Yes, let's see. So all what you're describing, that region is about 30 minutes or so from Manhattan. So to get so first how to get there
Hmm.
is we have the Long Island Railroad that leaves out of Penn Station in Manhattan, Grand Central and Jamaica Queens. A lot of times you may have to transfer in Jamaica, and it's a very, very simple transfer. Usually the track is right across the way, or they'll announce it. And again, it takes maybe, oh gosh, maybe 30 minutes tops, maybe even, 25 minutes um, to get there
Oh, okay.
from and so it's very, very easy to get here. That a lot of people also, prefer to drive. But Sands Point Preserve is actually a beautiful hiking area just north of Port Washington and quite close to Great Neck. So there's a lot of um, towns that may sound a little bit similar near there. So for instance, we have Glen Cove. That's where my great uncle lived and grew up for many, many years. There's Great Neck. That's where great F. Scott Fitzgerald lived for a period of time while he was writing The Great Gatsby before he moved to Paris. And the reason why he was living in Great Neck is because he wanted to be a little bit outside the city, but also close to Broadway
Hmm.
in Manhattan. But Sands Point Preserve, what I actually love visiting, which is quite close to there, and perhaps historically relevant, is Theodore President Theodore Roosevelt had his home on Sagamore Hill, very close by, and he lived there. My gosh, he that was the home of his home from 1885 until his death in 1919, and there is a museum there that you could visit, several different hiking trails, a beach that people could go canoeing on and relaxing. It's quite nice to visit. And what's kind of cool is you can't take any photographs inside the his former home.
Oh, okay.
That's a really cool place.
Very cool. And are there like places you recommend for like eats and food and drink in that area?
Yeah, in that area, there's a number of cool spots. There's one in Oyster Bay that I like called Wild Honey Restaurant. And why I love them, they have what's called a wine and dine lunch for $32 currently. That's the current price. And then that includes two courses plus a glass of any of their pouring wines. And some of my favorite dishes, I love their beet Brussels Napoleon. Oh my gosh, their gnocchi is really good. Their wild mushroom gnocchi is phenomenal. So you may experience some of the same dishes that perhaps were served back at the, turn of the 20th century, like a lot of different shellfish is very strong on their menu. They do something called a shellfish hot pot, which has like clams, mussels, shrimp, and jasmine rice in a saffron broth. That's really good too. And yeah, they serve lunch and dinner. They do, different specials for the holidays and such. So that's a cool spot. Let's see, thinking about others near there. Um, what's actually cool is there's another place in Williston Park, which is just south of Great Neck. It's about 20 minutes away or so, and that's called Cooper Hill. And that's a very, I would say, like new American refined dining. They're very known for their like mixology, craft cocktails, and such. Very, like farm to table, esque inspired dishes. I think they have a an herb wall inside. And yeah, yeah, really, really nice, fun, modern American kitchen. They have great pizzas there as well too.
Very cool. Um, is there any, so we have Teddy Roosevelt's house, and of course we have Sands Point Preserve. Um, and so there's three mansions. I call them castles.
Yes. They
I've
kind of
seen
in a
the
way
pictures.
are.
They look like castles. I mean,
They
it's
are stunning. And what's cool is I've gone to all of them. I visited all of them, and they have what do they call, like a lot of different benefits, galas, fundraisers there. So that's a really nice opportunity to visit. And a lot of these places they'll be open, for like afternoon tea or lunch there. Oheka Castle, excuse me, is open. Yeah, they have a full bar inside. I think you might, depending upon when you visit, you may even see the owner. Actually, it's so funny is I went to Oheka Castle back in December of, was it 2023? My gosh, that was a long time ago. Was it really that long ago? Wow, it was. I'm just having a moment like, was it seriously that long ago? Okay, wow. Time flies. But anyway, it was a girlfriend of mine. We had just come from one of the nearby estates for an event, and we stopped in for drinks, and the owner was there, and he started chatting us about his life and all the craziness. And actually, speaking of, the owner was actually shot in the head and left for dead, and that was actually one of the first conversations he had with us. And he showed us like his scar. And I can't even make this up. It was like he just started me like, "Oh, how are you doing? Oh, by the way, I was shot in the head. You want to see my
oh my gosh. Wait, and this is he worked the bar at the Ohika Castle? Is
the
that where?
owner?"
Oh,
No,
the
he was the
owner.
owner. He was just there,
Jeez.
and he was, and I was so stunned. I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
And
You're just like, yes, sir. Okay.
and I actually we didn't have I didn't log on to the Wi-Fi, but then later on, yeah, I pulled up articles. Yes, that is a fact. And was shot actually on property.
Oh my gosh, that's
Hmm.
crazy.
Yeah,
So speaking of the Ohika Castle, that's another mansion that has was said to have inspired Fitzgerald.
yeah,
And um, Citizen Kane was actually filmed there. And I have to do Julia right. And Taylor Swift's
yeah,
Blank Space video was also filmed there.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean that again, it's another this beautiful mansion. What a what a story to tell. But that that is
It's
very unique to most people's experience there, I'm sure.
it's absolutely, it's quite an incredible property. The best time of year, definitely go there on a beautiful sunny day. I've been there on a beautiful sunny day, and I've also been there on a cloudy, rainy, cold day. And what's cool is when as you're driving to Ohika Castle, you're actually driving through a full like neighborhood
Oh.
of houses that are pretty semi the neighbor a solid neighborhoods. You're like, what? It's not like I'm off a main road at all. So when you get there, there's a long, there's one gate, and then you curve in. There's a long driveway. So that's when you see in Taylor Swift's Blank Spaces, I believe she's walking or running, or I did see. I swear I saw the music video, but she's doing something down that long driveway. But what a cool spot to film that. Yeah, and then it's quite beautiful inside. They do tours, and then if you want to do like professional photography, you do need like a written letter, of consent. You have to go through certain channels to get that done. And then having weddings there are very, very, very elaborate. I remember when I got married, back in 2011, I was inquiring about weddings back in we were in 2010 inquiring for a place in 2011. I think at the time there was a $10,000 site fee. I
Wow.
don't think that site fee is $10,000 anymore. It would not shock me if it was 30,000 now.
Wow. I mean, it is gorgeous, but wow.
Yeah. Yes, and then those cakes they do. Oh, you know who got married there? One of the Jonas brothers got married there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Very nice.
accidentally. Yeah, back in the
Yes.
day. But
They can
yeah.
afford the
Oh, they
they can
could.
afford that
They
bill.
certainly can.
Um, and so you said there's the dining on
Yes,
premise right there.
there is a restaurant. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, I've heard, that it was decent. It was good. It was worth trying, but there are a lot of, I'll just say, in the most, you know, there are many great spots also to check out nearby.
Right. And what are some of your favorites in that area?
In that area, let's see. It's funny is that a lot of, I'll be honest, a lot of them closed
Oh,
after the, yeah, pandemic. But usually, I mean, usually what I do is I drive to Patchogue.
okay.
Um, But I will say in Huntington, one of my favorites is it's called the Italy Restaurant and Bar is my absolute favorite. And then if you're looking for something quick and easy and healthy, I love I love Organic Crush. Organic Crush has like fresh smoothies, salads, all the good stuff. And they have one in Amagansett right near me, next town over. But yeah,
Okay.
the Farm Italy Restaurant Bar is phenomenal and definitely check out their Instagram account. It's quite cool.
Very cool. Is there anything else in that you said about driving to Patchogue? Is that how about how far is that?
Oh gosh, that's a good 45
Okay.
minutes. Let me think on that for a second. Um, it's yeah, it's oh gosh. Yeah, I would say it's about 45 minutes because what you have to do is you have to cut down to 490, cut all the way, the back
Okay.
roads back to 495 over and then down to Patchogue, which is on the Great South Bay, as we call it
Okay.
here, on the it's not on the sound, it's towards the ocean.
Oh, okay. Um, very cool. Yeah, it so in that is Ohika Cas. I know it's in the neighborhood, but is that sort of like a area out on its own or so that you sort of go and then leave to check out really good food and stuff, it sounds like. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
it's definitely, I would say, a place to walk around, tour, maybe, grab a drink or two, and then I think yeah, and then beautiful photo ops,
Right.
beautiful photo opportunities there.
Yeah, it's again from the pictures on the Long Island website are stunning. Like I don't know who
Oh,
took those and some of the drone footage, but it's gorgeous.
yeah, it truly, truly is.
And then one other stop on our little Gatsby's Long Island is the old Westbury Gardens. And apparently it's a very spectacular estate. It's 173 acres, which is huge. And it was supposedly the inspiration for the Buchanan estate in the 2013 film for The Great Gatsby. It's also been a film location for Gossip Girl, North by Northwest, and Cruel Intentions, and a lot of other ones. Um, so this place sounds spectacular as well.
Yes.
And this is so in sort of geography, like um, where would you start and visit? And again, now I'm asking multiple questions, which is the worst thing to do. I understand.
Hmm.
Um, let me back up. How many days would you recommend spending to do some of these places?
I would say a solid weekend.
A solid weekend.
Yeah, solid 2 days.
Okay. And then is there, are you sort of starting north, south? Like, what order would you do things in? Would you recommend?
And now, in true road trip fashion, we're making a quick pit stop. But instead of snacks, I've got something a little different for you. Spring is almost here, which means it's the perfect time to start planning our next adventures. To make it even more fun, I created a free bingo card filled with unique experiences, like visiting a roadside attraction, exploring a quirky museum, or my personal favorite, buying road trip snacks like a kid left unattended in the store. And here's the best part. Each episode of this podcast can help you with ideas to fill in a square. Ready to start checking off those boxes? Download your free bingo card at theroamingyeti.com and get inspired for your next trip.
I would recommend the furthest location and then working your way back.
Okay.
Most definitely. So if someone were to want to come out to the Hamptons, for instance, arrive on on an evening, the day before, it's like a Thursday or Friday evening, and then start to work your way west, because then you're going against the traffic.
Okay. And the train, I mean, the train is probably the easiest way, right? For most people
Correct.
to. And then what does transportation look like then on Long Island once you've taken the train in?
What does, oh, sorry, repeat that?
So if you take the train out to Long Island, then what are your transportation options while you're on the island? Should you Uber to
Oh yes.
places or?
Oh yes. So I honestly I recommend, if at all possible, to rent a car or to bring a car. It's very, I'm just being very honest, it's very difficult in regards to public transportation. Yes, if you're on the railroad lines,
Mhm.
that's good. However, we have at least four or more railroad lines here. For instance, we have, there's the Huntington line, there's the Ronkonkoma line, there's the line that goes all the way out to Montauk. There's a number of them, and you can't rely on that. Ubers are very expensive out here. I can't make that, even to get from my where I live into town, which is less than 2 miles. It costs me $20 or more.
Oh my God.
It's absurd. It's absurd. And then taxis, few and they're there, but it's and then we do have a bus service. We have the S62, S92. We have the bus transport, but again, few and far between. So public transportation, I don't. And it's unfortunate. I don't recommend it though out here.
Okay. So take the rail in, rent a car, and go from there.
Right, exactly. Definitely rent a car. And then my tip for renting a car, instead of maybe perhaps saving a little bit of, some money as opposed to renting in New York City metro
Hmm.
area, is to take the train out to Ronkonkoma train station or Huntington station, or one of the main train stations there, Deer Park. But Ronkonkoma in particular, I know has places nearby that have opportunities to rent cars.
Yeah.
Another option too is you can rent a car when you're in Southampton if you take the what's called the Hampton Jitney bus out, and you could take the bus there, and then right there they have a rent a car
Okay.
center.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean I think that's a big thing is sort of how to get around. So that's very, very helpful for your like 3 day um trip. And I know there was something that you had shared with me that I think there's a boat tour that's going on sort of in celebration of the Great Gatsby anniversary. I think
Yes.
they shared.
Yes, there is a boat tour that they do. It's called the Great Gatsby Boat Tour. And let's see, they offer it for, adults and children. And it's essentially you're sailing past the iconic quote unquote East Egg and West Egg locations. And it's about a 2 hour cruise. It departs from Port Washington. But to please note that the cruise is only available May to September, and that I think they also offer group charters.
Okay. And when's your favorite season on Long Island? Like when would you recommend?
Yes, so my favorite season I would definitely say is oh God, I mean I do love the summer season. It is very crowded out here, but September is a beautiful month.
Oh,
September is a beautiful month. And I would say mid-May and September. But it is worth also the holiday season. That you should see, the mansions are decked out. They're absolutely beautiful. Especially Old Westbury Gardens. They do a spectacular light show
oh,
every year.
really?
Yes, it's really, really cool. And they do it all the way through New Year's Day.
Oh, okay.
That's highly worth. Then Halloween season, fall season's fun too. But I would say right now the quiet, months, January to April, to like
Yeah.
early April. Yeah.
So looking sort of talking about Old Westbury Gardens, are there places that you recommend? Is it sort of go in and leave? Because it, what other recommendations do you have in that area?
Sure, yeah. So for visiting Old Westbury Gardens, let's see, I would recommend like going nearby and, doing or creating like a picnic lunch. I think that would be a really cool experience. There is though on property, there is a what's called cafe in the woods, though it is seasonal and it's cute. They have like outdoor, very, very casual tables and such. And that's a cute, fun experience. But again, I think that Old Westbury Garden calls for like a, picnic lunch experience.
Gotcha. And you know, beyond just these places, and even beyond whether it's Gatsby-esque or whatever, like where are your, as people are driving around and checking things out, where are your other favorite places to visit and eat or drink? Just on, in Long Island.
Oh, Long Island. Yeah, I'll tell you, the North Fork has a lot of phenomenal restaurants there in Greenport in particular, which is actually has a little bit of a Great Gatsby-esque to it as far as that like, cozy seaside nautical town, so to
Nice.
say. But let's see. On the North Fork, it's funny is there's so many restaurants that, open and close and such. So there's a lot of shifting uh of course, on especially on the east end of Long Island where it's very, very seasonal. But the North Fork Table and Inn is probably really, a phenomenal staple spot to visit. And Lucharitos is a really fun spot. You'll find Lucharitos all over, the North Fork area, in Riverhead, Aquabog, and then in Greenport as well. And then if you hop over to Shelter Island, I love Leon Restaurant. And another spot that has perhaps a great Gatsby-esque vibe to it is the Ram's Head Inn, and they do a lot of like cool like events like murder mystery dinners and
Oh,
such.
fun.
Yeah, and they're open year round.
Very fun. This has been great information. I definitely, before we wrap up here, I want to hear a little bit more about you. I think you have a brunch that you do in the summer.
Yes.
So give us a little promo. Tell us a little bit about you.
Yes, definitely. So I do what's called the Hamptons Interactive Brunch, and it's a summer event series that I put on year after year. And then this year, what I'm going to be doing is two separate small events um, with under the umbrella of the Hamptons Interactive Brunch. I did a large event the past few years, but just toning it down a little bit and creating two separate events because I want more people to experience it essentially because some people are only here in July or August I did it last year in late June, so a lot of people weren't out here yet, so it was a different crowd perhaps each and every year. So I'm going to split it up into between two separate smaller events, so that should be really exciting.
Very cool. And where, if anyone's interested, where can they find out more information?
Sure. I would say I recommend right now is to follow me on Instagram at Vanessa P. Gordon. That's where I'm going to be doing a lot of my updates and such as far as the events. But for the brunch specifically, it's hamptonsbrunch.com, or we're on Instagram at Hamptons Interactive Brunch. And we'll be doing updates there as well.
Great. And I'll be sure to throw that in the show notes. So if people are looking for those links, they'll be there as well.
Wonderful.
I appreciate your expertise and giving us some information so we can go live our best Gatsby lives on
Yeah.
on Long Island. So thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. This was wonderful.
Again, I want to thank Vanessa for coming on and sharing all this great information with us. For Yeti's pop pick this week, I'm going to stay with the Great Gatsby theme and just to let you know, if you don't know, there is on Broadway currently the Great Gatsby musical. Um, I've heard really great things about it. So if you are feeling that Great Gatsby vibe and you want to check that out and then head to Long Island, go for it. It seems like a fun time for sure. And with that, we add another stamp to our pop culture passport. I hope that this episode inspires you to get out and explore all that is quirky and cool, even in your own backyard. Follow, download, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Tell a friend and leave a review if you like what we're doing. It really does help the show to grow. You can also follow me on Instagram or Facebook, or just search The Roaming Yeti. Keep roaming!